Maryland guard Rodney Rice has hit the portal for the second consecutive season, leaving College Park following Kevin Willard leaving College Park. Terps without a coach that allowed Rice to hit the portal here. Really good member of the Crab Five, really emerged in the second half of the season. Shot over 37% from three, averaging nearly 14 points per game. Was a really good contributor for this team, Cart, which is a bit of a wild card after he was inconsistent in only 8 games played at Virginia Tech. He now enters as one of the more, I would say, coveted wings available because of his size and shooting ability, some of the stuff he brings defensively. What should people know about Rice, the player, as their teams may look at pursuing him?
Yeah, so Rodney Rice transferred into Maryland this season after kind of having a weird career, a weird year at Virginia Tech where he really didn't play. But he was a high pedigree guy out of the Maryland area, out of the DMV, really good player. And I think what you have in Rodney Rice is a 6'4" guard who can one get extremely hot from three, but consistently can be a sniper kind of at that guard wing position. And I think he also has some underrated defensive kind of prowess to him. But I
Mm.
think getting a guy who was a part of one of the more successful Maryland teams in recent memory, I
Yep.
think he has a great attitude and competitiveness about him, and also an ability to be a guy who will like you need a guy who can be your allotted sniper. Like you put
Yes.
him on the court and you're like, Rodney, your job is to go get threes up, and he has no problem doing that, and he'll knock them down at a high clip. He's a floor spacer. I like his size at 6'4", kind of as like the off guard spot as well. I think that he should be one of the more highly coveted guys because of I think his easy pluggability into what you do with him. Like there's always going to be a need for a 6'4" guy who can give you 40% from three and also not be a negative on the other end of the floor. Like that
Yeah.
that's going to be something that a lot of teams will like want to plug into their team as like maybe the last piece to maybe get them over the hump to where they want to go.
There's a list of schools that tweeted out by Sam Kaiser of 24/7 High School Hoops of who Rodney Rice has heard from since entering the portal. 2025 schools on
Yeah,
him.
it makes sense.
Yeah, there's a large market for guys that size and that versatile who can plug into any system.
Mhm.
Right, you can plug in any system. Now, Rodney Rice's father has said that, quote, he would love to come back and be a Terp with the right coach and the right role. So return to Maryland is not out of the cards here, but I think the right role part sticks out to me because what is the right role for Rodney Rice in your mind?
So that's always an interesting question once the fathers get involved and once they bring out the word role, because that to me implies that did he really like his role at Maryland as like the guy that didn't necessarily maybe have the ball in his hands a lot, or just I don't know what that really means, but I think maybe the role I'm gonna look like glass half full here. I think the role having him next to a point guard who can get others involved, which Jacoby Gillespie I think did, but also Jacoby Gillespie was a guy that wanted to get his own as well. So
Mhm.
maybe Rodney being next to a more pass first point guard would be something that he wants to put someone that's going to get him involved, get him in spots, and get him open shots, right? And maybe in a system where a lot of stuff is ran for him. Like, and I think that Kevin Willard did a pretty good job of that this year. Like, he was the
Yeah.
Rodney Rice was the guy like coming off the screens, and then Miguel was spotting up, and Gillespie was making the play or whatnot. So, I mean, maybe if he I'm not sure who's in the running for the Maryland job right now, but some of the names I heard doesn't really necessarily scream, I want to go back to that school. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I don't know if Maryland knows who's in the running for the Maryland job.
Yeah. They're still licking their wounds.
They are. I think they're more mad at Kevin Willard than they are focused on finding somebody new.
Right.
The focus on role is interesting to me because I think his role is probably best suited at a high level for what his role just was, where he is kind of a secondary guy. He's not one of your go-to options, but he can step up and win you a game here and there. Be that third or fourth scoring option who is better than the other team's third or fourth scoring option. I think if he is your second scoring option, even your first, like one of your true go-to guys, I think you're talking about that team being like a fringe bubble team for the NCAA tournament. Like
Yeah.
that to me does not instill a ton of confidence. I should say, I am a big fan of his game, what he brings to the table for all the things that we've talked about. But to me, if you're going to be a go-to guy or like a primary scoring option, you got to do a little bit more off the bounce. You got to do a little bit more attacking the rim. You have to be a little bit more explosive than Rodney Rice is. I think he's a phenomenal, secondary scoring option. Having him on the wing next to somebody who takes some of the defensive pressure away, like Jacoby Gillespie did, like Derek Queen did, is ideal for a team that's going to make a run. But Rice may also want to show he can do a little bit more than that, which I can't knock him for. I just don't know if it's there.
Right. Like the thing is like I to your point, I liked his role and like kind of
Yeah,
what he was for Maryland. Like I thought it was the perfect fit. Like he kind of like he had the thing at Virginia Tech where it just didn't work out with that team. And like he revived his career
yeah.
kind of at Maryland. And I think he's good in that role. I actually so this comp for me came up because as I was watching Maryland this year, it gave me the vibes of you remember when God, what was his name? Dude transferred from Duke to
Rashid
Maryland.
Suleiman.
Rashid Suleiman. Rashid Suleiman was this top 10 guy coming out of high school, right? Plays for Duke. He's playing on Duke, right? And he's part of the national championship team, I believe. Had like some productive years at Duke. Like he was playing major minutes, something like that. But then he goes to Maryland his senior year and plays a lot, starts a lot, does all that, right? But he was like the third or fourth guy on that team, kind of. And like he just settled into that role. He knocked down three pointers at a high clip. And like that was I mean, that 2015 Maryland team was really good. Like I just think that, you know, sometimes you think your role should be something, but in order to have the success, in order for you to be best as a player, like credit to Kevin Willard, I think by him putting Rodney Rice in this role, he might even be like saving Rodney Rice from himself, or maybe like what his father wants him to be, because I think this is the role he needs to be in. Like I mean, we were going to talk about it on every video on here, I feel like, but like put put uh put Rodney Rice on Purdue. Braden Smith's creating for you. Fletcher Lawyer spacing the floor for you as
Oh
well.
yeah.
You got a post presence in TKR, and you're out there to be 6'4" and get shots up. It'd be perfect. But he could also, I don't know, go to Kansas State and be the lead guard and win 15 games and get his stats and be with Jerome Tang. Like that, those are two paths for me. It's just what he wants.
Yeah. And maybe what he wants, what his dad wants, might be two different things too. Because a lot of times there are people trying to push these players into something that they don't want themselves. Um, should be a pretty sizable bag for Rodney Rice either way, though, given the value that he showed. Again, key piece of the Crab Five, open to return to Maryland, but 20, 25 other schools have already reached out. No shortage of options for Rice.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.